What is going on YouTube? 0088 here, I'm here with my fiance Carla, and today we are reviewing the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yes! Fire! You asked for it! This is fun!
Normally I say let's go. First of all, this was my most anticipated movie for this year, believe it or not. Did it deliver? Did it make me feel like, wow, this is definitely worth being my most anticipated movie and the best movie of the year? I won't go that far, but well, I don't know what's better yet, but it was definitely really good, I think. What do you think?
I said before we went into the cinema that I was worried that if you didn't like it, it was going to be hell to pay because I'd have to listen to it for the next 6 months about how they ruined the Mario movie.
Why is Peach doing that?
Yeah.
I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Please let it be good, otherwise I'm never going to hear the end of how shit this movie is.
But no, it was good. It was good.
It
could
really
have been better. It could have been better. There's like two things that are like nitpicks personal to me that I'll mention later in this review. Things that they could have easily done, because I think a lot of people would have liked that, and I've seen people request that, but I'll talk about that later. Right, the general plot is basically you got the two Mario brothers, Mario and Luigi. They're trying to run their plumbing business after getting fired from Spike's wrecking crew construction business, I think. They want to prove themselves, and they get this big job. And they flop it, trying to beat them up.
I wouldn't say it's a big job. They put an advert out on TV.
First job.
Yeah, and they get a phone call and it's their first job, and they fuck it basically.
Yeah. And then after they have the opportunity to go to the sewers and save Brooklyn because there's a massive leak and the whole of Brooklyn's going to be flooded.
Even though no one asks them to do that, they just see it on TV
and they think we can do it, and then they get trapped under. And this bit's really cool because it kind of reminds me of the very first Mario Brothers game where they're kind of like in the sewers and then all these monsters start coming out and I have to destroy these monsters in the sewers. That was like the original arcade Mario Brothers game. So that's like a reference to that when they're in the sewers. And then they end up getting sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, separated. Luigi goes into Bowser's world and Mario goes into the Mushroom Kingdom. And then it's up to Mario to find his brother and save the Mushroom Kingdom, help Princess Peach.
This film doesn't have too much of a plot.
Yeah.
Really, it's very basic storytelling.
Yeah, this would be one of my criticisms of the film is people would argue that a kids movie doesn't need like a big and like in-depth, character building, high concept story and plot. But I'd argue why not? Like a kids movie can have that. Look at Toy Story, look at Aladdin, look at all those classic Disney films that are for children, but they're just really interesting, well told, believable plots, not believable in the sense that it can happen in real life, but believable in the sense that these characters would do that and would say that. Do you know what I mean?
Disney films and Pixar movies, they always have a moral to the story.
There's
always a lesson to learn.
There's a moral in this, like about like just trying to prove yourself and always working hard, never giving up. That's Mario's thing. Is like he keeps repeating it, doesn't he? That's my issue. I never give up or something like that. And then Princess Peach is like, no, that's a good thing,
Yeah.
I think that's the moral there.
I think that's a kickback to the games that you can't give up. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to keep trial and error.
It's trial and error.
Yeah, you'll get through one obstacle.
That's a really cool thing. It's like a double meaning of like it's a good message.
Yeah.
And it's like it represents the games perfectly because it's like
the game was always trial and error.
The game was always trial and error, never give up. That's Mario's thing.
No one would do it on their first go, would they?
Yeah, exactly. No one would do it on their first go.
And then you'd get hit by something else.
Yeah, except for Peach apparently though. We'll get to that. She does it on her first go. But no, yeah, exactly. The issue was with the plot sometimes is there'll be moments where there should be maybe some world building here, a little bit of character building, and then it'll just move on to the next thing really quickly. When Mario fell into Peach's castle, she kind of met him and says, "Oh, another human. We need to fight Bowser. Oh, training. It just went really quickly. Like there wasn't much like explaining. Not that I want the whole thing explained to me or what the boxes mean, but it's just like it didn't feel natural. There's probably ways or word dialogues they could have used that would have made it feel a little bit more natural, or there's not like enough reaction or shock to certain things. They're just okay, this happened, now we do the next thing, and that happened quite a lot, especially when they went to the Donkey Kong Kingdom as well. And the Cranky Kong was like, "Oh, you need my army? Defeat my son, and then I'll give you my army." And everything just happened really fast. That's the only criticism about the plot that I really have. Otherwise, the actual overall story was a good story.
If you're going to go into this movie expecting a complex story, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
And if you've never played the games in childhood, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
You're going to go to this and think this is boring as anything.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about Mario.
The plot is so simple, but you're so distracted by all the stuff from the game that's what makes it so much fun.
A lot of people have criticised it for being just fan service, but it is.
But if you haven't ever played the games as a child or even in adulthood, you won't like this movie, I don't think, because it's a film made for fans who play the game or who had played the game.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's not to say that it needed like a more complex plot. It's just a bit weird. Like there was one part I heard my sister make a little funny noise, like, okay, like I heard her say that. Because there was a part where Mario and Peach were talking. She said there was loads of different galaxies and universes. And then it felt like she was going to say something else, and they just kind of just stopped. And I know it's like they were trying to hint at they kind of like each other, but they were being awkward with each other. But it also felt weird because it felt like Peach was trying to say something, and then they just kind of cut off, and then they just moved on to the next scene. And it was just like, and then my sister was like, okay, I heard her say it, because it felt like there was like dialogue or words missing that they could have said to just bolster her scene. Like, I'm not saying they need to have this complex, long, 20-minute conversation, but it's
philosophical.
Yeah, philosophical. They don't need any of that. It's just like maybe there's certain words they could have added or certain words they could have changed just to make it feel a bit more natural.
And elaborated on
elaborate on certain things a little bit, you know. Like, I don't need to know how the boxes were there. I don't need to know how platforms can float in the air and stuff like that. They just need to just make it feel natural, the flow. The flow was a bit jarring sometimes. But other than that, the action scenes, all the other stuff made it feel epic, but yeah.
So let's go through this like character by character. So we'll start with Mario.
Yeah. Mario, I think Chris Pratt did a really good job with Mario, and his character was well realised. Like, it felt like the Mario from the games, and it felt like the Mario from the old cartoon show from the 80s and 90s. Like, because he had that Brooklyn accent and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think everybody was like bagging on Chris Pratt, like saying, "Oh, why couldn't they get the guy from the games that goes wahoo?" You know, that guy.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they get the Italian accent? But I was just like, why would you want to hear that for the whole movie? And it will just get annoying after a while, and a little bit like stereotypical, and people don't fall that these
almost
days.
Almost a bit like mocking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little bit mocking. Even Mario said it in the movie. He was like, "Do you think that was too much?" When they were doing, because they did the actual voice in the advert, didn't they? The actual Mario voice.
And I think that was almost like
a reference to
the fans. Like really?
You don't want this voice for the whole movie, yeah. And I think Chris Pratt did a good job. The emotional scenes he did well, the little bits of emotional scenes there was, and like the action scene, I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a standout character for me.
Yeah.
He just did the role very well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like it didn't feel like Chris Pratt to me. I didn't feel
it didn't feel like it was Star-Lord or Chris Pratt. It felt like, okay, this is Mario. This is Mario's life.
Exactly. I need to know, because someone let me know in the comments below. It was actually Chris Pratt doing the Italian voice in the adverts. Because if it was, he was pretty good at it. I don't know if that was Charles Martinet. Charles Martinet is the guy that does the voice of Mario in the games, and he does Luigi's voice as well. And he does Waluigi and Wario, the evil versions of Mario and Luigi. And there was this guy, like an older Mario, and he was in the background, like on the arcade machine, and he said it was perfect or something. I think that was, him.
Yeah, I remember him, yeah.
That was the classic Mario guy doing that voice, the proper Mario actor.
See, I didn't know that.
I don't know if it was Charles Martinet doing that, or if it was actually Chris Pratt, because that sounded really good. But yeah, anyway, so Luigi's voice actor, Charlie Day, I thought it was really good. Yeah,
I actually felt more connected to that character than to Mario. I don't know, it just felt like, that's Luigi. That's Luigi from the games.
He did.
That's the Luigi we know. It just felt natural and genuine.
Felt like the voices was actually coming out of that character.
And you could imagine that Luigi in a game.
Yeah, I loved how Luigi at the end showed that he overcame. Some people criticise him for not having character development. He had character development in the end where he saw that I'm going to protect my brother. You know, like he was holding up the shield. You thought it was going to be Peach.
I thought it was going to be Peach. At the end, I was like, "This is going to be Peach. This is going to be Peach. Peach is going to come in and save him."
Oh, God.
And then when it was his brother, I was so happy.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's such a lovely character arc from being really like
scared and
fearful, and then just to get that courage." From like
and the fact
courage.
that you got that as well.
Yeah.
Like, yes, maybe it could have been delved a bit more, and it could have been expanded a bit more that Luigi's scared, but we got the gist of it.
Yeah.
And you understood.
Luigi is frightened, and Mario always comes to Luigi's rescue.
Exactly.
And this time he got to come to Mario's rescue, and it's just a really nice arc. But yeah, in my head I was like, this is going to be Peach. They're going to do it. They're going to make her the hero of the show.
Yeah. But
and then
Luigi
I really
came
liked
in
it.
and
I
they
was
got
like,
the star and all that. I was sick. And Bowser was so good. Jack Black's Bowser.
Yeah, Jack Black was really, really good.
Yeah.
But he's always good, isn't he? Like
Yeah.
anything like that way. I feel like he's a sort of actor that people get in and go, okay, just do what you want to do. And we'll sit here and we'll watch. Like, I feel like that's what they do.
I was actually surprised. I thought, you know what, I thought they were going to do that and he was going to almost ruin it.
Because, be silly.
Yeah, like be too silly. He's going to have this squeaky voice. It's not going to seem, because he's the main villain, it has to seem somewhat imposing. I know it's a kid's film, but he still has to be convincing as a villain, as Bowser, you know. Sometimes even in the games, Bowser's stupid. And I thought, well, they don't need to worry because Bowser's stupid in the game sometimes. So it was amazing when I first saw the trailer and I heard him speak for the first time in the trailers, and I was like, oh shit, he's actually gonna be kind of scary. He's like, open the gates, you know. I was like, what? He's actually doesn't even sound like Jack Black. I was like, what the hell? That sounds so good.
I never doubted Jack Black for that character because he's just a natural at stuff.
People
like
were
that.
laughing when they casted him at first. So like, Jack Black as
Really?
Bowser? They didn't understand because he's funny, isn't he? He's like, it doesn't.
He is
make...
funny, but he's also just like kind of got that I don't care attitude, so he can easily like tune into.
I guess they thought he might just not take it seriously, but I think
maybe
did.
that was the problem. Maybe people thought, oh, it's Jack Black, he's funny. This is I don't want him to make my childhood character silly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And at the end of the film, when Peach finally rejected him properly, and he was like furious, wasn't he? His eyes were like steaming with red and all that, and like he was actually legitimately scary. He was beating the crap out of Donkey Kong and all that. Mario had bruises on his face.
Exactly.
He was kind of scary at the end when he went mad. So it was like he did a great job, and obviously the singing bits, the piano and all that.
You're very comedic.
Yeah, and it was
good comedy.
And you know, Jack Black always has to have a singing thing, and
Yeah.
he's
Oh my god, he does do that, doesn't he?
Yeah, because he's a musician in real life. He's got his band and all that, and so
Yeah, he does do that.
And it worked. It worked for Bowser because he was in love with Peach. I'm really proud of Nintendo and Illumination for managing to keep that out of the trailers. Because in the trailers, they made it seem like he just wanted to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, he just wanted to be
He
all
wanted the
powerful.
stars, yeah. But the real reason that they hid in the movie was that he loves Peach and he wants to propose
And
to
he
her.
wants to be married to
He
her.
wants to be with her, yeah. And that's like akin to the games as well, which is he does kidnap Peach because you think he just wants to kidnap her just to hold her hostage or something or kill her or something. But no, the real reason Bowser wants Peach because he wants her for himself, you know.
And you almost feel like a little bit sorry for him, don't you? 'Cause
Yeah.
you're like, oh, he only wants to be loved. Like, you know, obviously he's a villain. But you're like, oh.
He loves the wrong way, but he just genuinely wants to be
He's
loved.
loving in the way that he knows love,
Yeah.
Let's go on to Peach.
Yeah, Peach.
So, I don't actually know who that actress is that
Anya Taylor-Joy.
played Peach, but she was wicked.
Yeah, she
I
was
thought
good.
she was absolutely.
Because some people had some
wicked.
criticism, same reason with Chris Pratt as well. Like she didn't sound like the Peach in the game because Peach in the game is like, oh hello Mario.
Yeah.
She's got a really soft voice, but no, it works. Just like how Chris Pratt changed up Mario's voice, it works for Peach as well.
Could we have that the whole movie?
Yeah.
Like, could you tolerate?
Yeah,
that?
it'll get a bit annoying eventually.
You know, it'll be almost like a minion.
Yeah,
you know,
literally,
like
you don't want that.
minion,
You don't want your main girl to be speaking like that for the whole movie. So I was happy with what they did with Peach's voice, and Peach's character really surprised me because I was having the trailers. I loved all the trailers. That's what made it my most anticipated movie of the year. But I was like concerned about Peach because we're in the current time where female characters actually, I think it's a detriment to them that they just want to write these strong female characters that are only strong because they're really powerful and they can beat people up, but they don't have any character
They're
development.
strong because they're not feminine.
Yeah,
That's
they're
what makes them
strong because they're not feminine, and it's
when
kind of an
actually
insult.
femininity is probably a superpower in many ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, they tend to. I know what you're trying to say. They tend to write. The only way a female in a show can be powerful is if she's not feminine.
Yeah, and she's angry and she's moody.
Yeah.
She looks almost like a boy, and she's beating everybody up. Masculine, and I just thought, oh, are they going to do that with Peach? But no, she was really good. She didn't. I mean, there was times where she was like saying she was better than Mario and stuff, but it was so minor, and you could kind of believe it because.
And she kind of explained why. She sort of said, "I've lived here since I was a child.
Yeah, so I can do this.
I've known how to do this stuff.
Yeah, I can do this platforming stuff and all that kind of thing." But yeah, so Peach was really surprising because she wasn't arrogant. She wasn't, and even when she could have been arrogant, she was trying to play herself down. You know, and then she was feminine. She was feminine. Like, even when she did the thing, she did the little puffy thing with her dress and all that.
Yeah.
Like, normally they'll try and get rid of all of that and just make her have jeans or something and shave the side of her head and have her have a blonde, like, fringe. Leather jacket with spikes on it.
Yeah.
But no, they had her be Peach from the game and be feminine and everything.
She was bossing around in her dress.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They managed to observe her femininity.
Yeah.
And yet still
preserve
make her
femininity. Yeah.
Observe and preserve,
Yeah.
and still make her this really likable, feminine character.
Yeah.
That
she wasn't like
had love for her kingdom.
Yeah. She wasn't mad at people or mean to people. She just was not a character.
She was just she
was just another character, which was really good.
And
made her likable.
In the film, they explain how she. Kind of explain her origin story of how she got there. Don't explain how she got there, but they sort of explain she came there when she was a toddler.
Yeah, it's a similar way to Mario did.
Yeah.
And she was shocked that she saw another human in Mario.
But you don't know why she's there. In the game, you're like, why is there this random princess?
Yeah, why is this random princess? You don't really understand why the Mushroom King... They just put loads of characters there. They don't explain the story in depth in the games. They just want... Oh, we want a princess. So they make her look human. There's no explanation for it. But in this, the way they went around that, which I always love when they adapt stuff that don't have a story, and they can think of a backstory that makes sense, that Peach fell through that thing as well. And I thought that was really clever. And they made her the princess, the little mushroom toads people and all that.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. The ending where you were worried that she's going to take over Luigi, and I thought when she was about to get married to Bowser that she was going to beat everybody up. She froze him, but like she couldn't hold him there, and she still needed Mario's help to come in and, you know, save the day because he's Super Mario, you know. And then I was surprised that they actually had her not just win everything. She actually needed some help, just like everybody else needs help. Mario needs help, Luigi, everybody needs help sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool, and they just made her normal. You know, they made her a normal human character, not like overpowered and perfect at everything like they do these days. And I just thought that I had no issues with Peach whatsoever, you know. They did
I had no
really
issues
well,
with Peach
you know.
whatsoever.
That was the one thing I was worried about, and I had no issues with her. They even had her be kind of captured at the end, which is a reference to the games, you know. And I thought that was good. Keegan was really good as Toad. He was good.
Really good.
I have a little bit of criticism of the Toad character. Like, it felt like they could have done more with him because it felt like he wasn't part of the kingdom, was he? He was just a random Toad that bumped into Mario. I feel like they could have expanded on that just a little bit more. Because it was kind of like he just went in there and it's like, I want to fight alongside you, but you don't really know why he wants to fight alongside her. He just wants to, and you know, like, but. And he likes Mario, they think they're best friends. Felt like there could have been a story there where it explains that Toad is lonely or something and he doesn't have a friend.
Yeah, or he's been ostracised or something. You know?
Yeah, they felt like they could have added something there for Toad.
They definitely could have expanded.
You know? Because I can see there's lots of potential there, but it was just kind of like...
why does he think Mario's his best friend suddenly? Like, where does that
come from?
Where does that clinginess and that like need come from to be like...
Exactly, that
be my friend.
Yeah. Apart from that, the way he was depicted, the way... Key played him and his voice and how funny it was.
Yeah, because when they first cast Keegan as the Toad, I was a little bit like, how's that going to work? Like, it's like, how is that going to work? I can't imagine it. He's got such a distinct voice, doesn't he? You know, like, how are they going to make him so you're not listening to it going, oh, that's Keegan from Key and Peele? Like, but do you know what I mean?
Somehow he had that comedic timing of Keegan and Key
without the voice.
Without the voice, but he still had the kind of feeling of how he is in the games. He's got a very light voice in the games, so they managed to balance that out perfectly. I thought he was going to come in like, yo, what up, Mario?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's when
then
they
make it
cast
silly.
him.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were going to do.
I thought they were
like,
going to do
have him,
that.
like,
A completely
hey, yo,
different.
Pooch.
Yeah.
You know, like, because he's got a really deep
to make it funny
voice.
or something.
Yeah, I
but
thought-
no, they managed to do a bit of both, which
bit
is
of
perfect.
both. They got a good balance with that
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
But you're right, they could have just expanded a little bit and given him his own creative story.
Yeah, because
You
I
know?
think it was there. It just wasn't
Yeah.
expanded on a bit.
Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
I think he did a good job.
When they cast him, I was like, he's just perfect for that, really, isn't
Yeah.
he? Like, he's just,
He-
it's just Seth Rogen.
They even had to
isn't
put
it?
his
Like,
laugh in there when he knocked Mario out.
Yeah.
Or something. I was like, huh? I can't
Like,
do
he's
his
got,
laugh.
Seth Rogen's got such a distinct voice, and Donkey Kong is such a distinct character.
Mm.
Why would you not have
Yeah,
him play that character?
I mean, I thought it was alright. I thought it was pretty good.
It was just, he was just, like, funny
Yeah.
and just, like, Seth Rogen, really.
and he had his
Like,
own, and he had his own little arc. The character with Cranky Kong, he wanted to make his dad more proud of him and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Similar arc to Mario. They were on a similar arc, so they're related and also were rivals in that way. You
Yeah.
know, which was pretty cool. Cranky Kong. What did you think? You wanted to know who the actor was.
Yeah, whilst we were watching, I was like, who's doing that voice?
I think his name's
recognise
Fred
that voice. I recognise
Armitage or
that
something like that. I don't
voice,
know.
and I still don't know who it is.
I didn't like his voice that much, to be honest. I thought it was a bit, because it meant to be like an old man Donkey Kong thing, and it just sounded more like it just felt weird.
I'm not a regular dad, I'm a cool dad.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like his voice that much. I feel like maybe they could have made it more.
Was
classical.
neither here nor there for me.
Yeah,
He
you
was
know.
just a character. He didn't stand out, and he didn't disappoint. It was just, he was just there.
kind of there, yeah.
You know?
Criticism's more with the writing, with how he just, when they came in, he was like, "You gotta defeat my son." And I wish he just said a bit more than that, you know.
Yeah.
Make
He's
it,
almost like a means to an end character.
yeah. That weird Lumily thing that was like, "You are going to die," or whatever.
I don't know if that's a he or a she,
Yeah.
but it just represents adulthood, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like
That
that's
character
just
was for the
summing
adults.
up adulthood.
Literally.
You know,
That-
everything's sorted,
Yeah.
but you're still gonna die.
Yeah.
Like that whole she was just describing adulthood.
Even at the end, when the end credits or whatever, it was like, "Oh, is the movie's over? It was a great movie or something." Okay, and then it said something like, "You all had fun, but now the fun's over."
Yeah.
And now you've got nothing left to do. There's
Now
no
you're
more
gonna
movie
go
left.
back to your meaningless lives.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, that was specifically
was
put
funny
in
as
there
hell,
for
though.
the cute for the kids, but with an adult
Humour,
adult mind.
Yeah.
The animation and the graphics is so incredible. Like you can see the stitching on the hats, like the stitching, like
It was
the
crazy.
level, like the levels they've gone to show the stitching on
when you
someone's
get
hat.
when you get this film in HD, pause it, and then when you get to their eyes, like zoom in on their eyes, you can see like
The detail on the
detail on the
iris.
irises and all that stuff, the little holes that we got in our eyes and that stuff. Like you can see all of that stuff, and it's in every frame and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy the detail of the animation and the movements and everything. Like even the action scenes were just epic. You know, like. Most video game movies, like I don't forget when I first watched Street Fighter, the old classic crappy movie from the 90s, and you're just waiting to see something from the games, and they're just talking and waffling and doing stuff that's not in the games. They kind of look like they're in the game, and then like Ryu does his Hadouken, it's a flash of light, and you're just like, okay, that was okay. You're excited about that, but it's not really the one from the game, you know. But in this film, they didn't hold back. There was Mario punching the boxes, running through, jumping on the little turtles and that, and you know they're all hiding their shells. He throws a turtle like there's all this stuff that he does that's from the game, and it's so sick because it's just like you don't get to see that in adaptations. You just get to see little glimpses of it, and like even in the Last of Us TV show, you didn't see those clickers sometimes, or,
Yeah.
you know, you didn't see all the infected or certain things that Joel and Ellie do. Like in the games, but they don't do it that often. You know, just talking. But in this, it was just the action scenes are just literally ripped from the game. The using the power ups and all that kind of stuff. It's just so. If you love Mario, you won't be disappointed with the
Yeah.
action scenes. It's so good, so good.
There's bits which they've like completely brushed over and not even bothered, but then there's like little bits like that, like the dog fur, the moustache, the stitching on the hat, like even the stitching on the M and the L, like you can see like how that's been done on like a sewing machine. Like it's just mad the
It's
level that they've
mad,
gone
the
to.
detail.
Like Spike's watch and his gold chain and his really thick bushy beard, and he's wearing like the holographic Oakleys, and you can see like the reflection in the
probably see Mario's
Oakley's. Like,
face and all that.
it's just crazy, like the level that these guys went to make sure.
It's
that
got to be
it,
the
like,
highest quality like animated things out so far, like, or something.
I don't know. I would
Like if you
love
were
to
to
watch
compare
it
it to
in
like Toy
3D.
Story 4 or something, you know, like
Yeah.
the quality, would be, like the music.
We've like read a lot about this, and people are highly critical of the 80s
Yeah, you've seen
music.
some reviews and stuff about.
But for me, I loved it. I loved the 80s music anyway. So I just thought it was just a really clever way of showing, okay, Mario came out in the 80s. Why
I
do we
agree
not?
with
Why
that,
should
yeah.
we not have an 80s soundtrack?
Yeah.
And I really loved it. I thought it was great. I thought when Mario was doing his little practice and they were doing I Need a Hero,
I Need a Hero,
I just
yeah.
thought that was
As
that
cliche
was,
it might be, as some people have said it is, it just fitted anyway.
It is cliche, but that song is meant to be like a cliche song. It's a woman asking for a man to come and save her. Do you know what I mean?
For me personally, I didn't hate the 80s music, but I didn't like love it either. It was just kind of there for me. I was happy with it either way. Like, I wouldn't like want them to remove it, but if they did remove it, I wouldn't miss it either. I was just kind of kind of like the same way you felt about Cranky Kong voice actor. It's just, it didn't really, but I thought it was, what I loved the most about the 80s music, ironically, is what you said about how it's like, this is referencing when Mario was created. This is when he was basically born, the 80s, you know, and I thought that was a like nice little concept of using 80s music because of that, you know, so I thought that was cool.
I just thought they could have gone very like modern and gone like Justin Bieber.
Oh, that would have been
Zayn
annoying.
Malik,
Yeah,
like,
I'd prefer the 80s music.
do you know what I mean?
Sure,
They could have gone like really mainstream with it.
Yeah,
They could have
I'm
gone
glad they didn't do that.
Meghan Trainor, I am your mother.
Yeah.
Like, and I just felt like it was just a really cool throwback to the 80s.
sure,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
it
And
was
for me,
good.
I loved it.
I mean,
was like, I found
like,
myself literally singing along.
Yeah, I also
you know?
like the soundtrack, the video game soundtrack stuff that they remixed with the orchestra in the background and stuff. Some of the music there was pretty cool. This is actually my personal nitpick criticisms. I wish they. I even made a little short about it. I wish they played Bowser's Road at some point, maybe when they were on the Rainbow Road, or maybe when Mario was fighting Bowser with Luigi or something. I wish they played the Bowser's Road songs. That would have been just epic. That's like one of the most epic Mario songs, and a lot of people have asked for it as well. If you listen to it in the on YouTube and read the comments, you can see people like, oh, they got to put this in the movie, they got to put this, you know, and it's such a sick track. I wish they used it at some point.
I do feel like there's more coming, so maybe they're really saving that for like a build up.
Yeah, maybe. It's the same issue I had with No Way Home, where the introduction of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I want him to come in with his, you know, his music, like swinging in, you know, and it's like, it seems like such a no-brainer, and they just don't do it for some reason. I don't know, maybe these people that are making the film they're almost in it too much, that they forget about the easy things that they could easily put in, things we didn't like.
Yeah, I just didn't really understand why they were bringing it back to
Brooklyn.
But you made the point that their parents need to see that they did something amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
Which you could argue is another issue of the writing, which is true, they do need to see it did something amazing and save Brooklyn, but it felt kind of almost forced, like literally forced through the pipe.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, we need to figure out a way to wrap it up with his parents. They need to end that arc for Mario, you know, that he's proved something to his parents. Let's just put them all in Brooklyn, you know? It almost felt like it didn't feel like a natural
process.
Yeah,
exactly.
Natural
step. It could have been a way more natural than that.
Yeah, almost like they could have did this. This is what happens if you do a 1 hour and 30 minutes. Was it 1 hour 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have a 1 hour 30 minutes movie. If you imagine it was 2 hours, you could have all this stuff with, maybe he's already had a fight with Bowser, and Bowser's like, I'm going to destroy your world as well, you know, and he makes whole plan, and then it's like, oh no, he's going to go to Brooklyn, and then it's built up to be like natural, oh, you expect him to go to Brooklyn now, you know, where if it just feels like a random occurrence that just isn't there in Brooklyn now.
That's what it felt. It felt very random.
Like, imagine Bowser did that on purpose, you know.
We're going to Brooklyn now.
Yeah,
okay.
But it's good that Mario got to wrap up the thing, but it was a bit like lucky, you know, it wasn't very planned, you know, so it felt a little bit unnatural. So I get why that's one of your...
But that's the only thing I didn't like. That's really, genuinely, that is the only thing I didn't like.
Honestly, the only thing I didn't like was the nitpicky thing, was number one, I wish they used Bowser's Road at some point when Mario was doing something badass. That would have been sick. But the other thing is, I wanted to see Mario use a fire flower so bad. And they even teased it, which is even more annoying, because when he was fighting Donkey Kong, he hit, I think the fire flower was there, and he nearly grabbed it, and then Donkey Kong blew it out. Yeah, and I was like, no, because that's the classic, you know, when he's wearing the white and then he shoots the fireballs. That's his like number one power up that Barry uses all the time, apart from the star, the fire flower, you know. And it's so weird how they were teasing it, and I was like, I wanted them to use it so bad. That's like a nitpick for me, like.
But that makes me think that there's going to be an
He
addition
better use
to
it.
a number 2.
Yeah, he better use it in the second one.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, Peach used it, but I think she used the ice flower as well, didn't she?
Yeah.
She used the ice flower
In a wedding bouquet.
in a wedding bouquet. She used fire flowers, but that was to show Mario. I don't know if she used it to fight. Donkey Kong got to use the fire flower. I wanted Mario to use the fire flower. Well, at least Luigi or something. The plot could have been a bit more fleshed out. That's it. That was the only things I didn't like. Other than that, the film was pretty much amazing. You know, so the things we did like, I loved how Mario was eating the mushroom. It made him bigger and stronger to like represent how he's tiny, and then when the mushroom lands on you in the game, it gets bigger. It's so clever. I don't know if it was Jeremy Johns or someone said it in their review that they could have easily just left that out. But they actually found a way to make it work, and it was like, and it's so cool.
And it was animated the same way it happens in the game.
Yeah, and it's like
in a film. Yeah,
yeah.
Like it did it the same way it does when you do it in a game.
Yeah.
Like the animation was like almost seamlessly. Like you could always put them side by side.
Yeah, and it will work.
And it will work.
It was that was
and
good.
the irony of it is that he didn't actually.
Yeah,
like
he didn't
mushrooms,
even like mushrooms. I
which
thought it was really cool.
It was quite a cool little
Like it would have been super cringe, not cringe, but it would have been cheesy if it was like, oh, I love mushrooms, they're my favourite.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool that they made him ironically not like mushrooms,
Yeah.
you know, and that was kind of funny.
And I think the biggest thing I liked was there's so much reference to the games.
Yeah.
My favourite bit, I think, was when they were on Rainbow Road. As soon as that scene was done, I was like, oh my god, I really want to play Mario Kart now. If it could ignite that feeling of like, oh my god, I want to go to the arcade and play Mario Kart, you know, on the proper arcade machine, then it did something right.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
it called back to a game that you love playing. It just had everything, like the little bananas and like
the blue shell that
they
blew
made you
up.
feel the frustration of when you're driving along and something hits your car and it blows up.
And I love how Mario, like, he threw the shell backwards and blew the thing
Yeah.
behind, and that was such a sick scene as well, going back to the animations. And there's one bit that you probably won't realise, but back in the days when you used to play Mario Kart on the N64 on the Rainbow Road, which is like the hardest
Is it when you
stage.
fell off?
Yeah, you can kind of cheat, but you're not supposed to do it. You can like jump off at the right time and land on the bottom bit of the Rainbow Road and keep going.
Oh, I
so you
wasn't
jump.
thinking about that.
Yeah, so they did that in the film. Like, like Mario even looked at it and he went to jump off to the other side. It's like a little trick everyone used to do back in the days, which was really cool. Like they referenced that, you know, like little things like that.
And I loved it when, because obviously when you play the game, you play from left to right, don't you? And you have to run from left to right. Quite often they would zoom out and show you the scene as if you're looking at it from a game point of view.
When it's like side-scrolling, the side.
Yeah,
the
but then
shot.
they'd like pan out and you'd see it as if you were playing a game
It's so
from
sick
left
they
to
did
right.
that. One of my favourite ones actually was when they were in Brooklyn when they did that. Like Mario and Luigi were running through I think they were trying to get to the job in time or something. Yeah. And Luigi was like, come on, is that?
And he's like hopping over stuff, and you hear the little noises. I do feel like you need to have played the game to really appreciate what they did with this game.
At least have seen the game or something, you know.
What they did with this game.
That's how close it is.
And one of my favourite bits were when they were picking their carts. You know, when they're like,
it's like
we're leaving.
I don't know if you recognise the sound. It was like the sound from the when you're picking the slots for your car, and even when you press the button, it was like an A button, like from the Nintendo. Is that they did everything, man, and it was it
just ignites a childhood memory in you that makes you feel really happy. And that's the biggest thing that came out of this for me. I just felt like I was like laughing, like goofy happy. You know, when you're like so happy.
I was just smiling like that.
Yeah, I think I spent 90% of the film like
just smiling like that all the way through the film. They did a perfect job for that film, man. That's how you got to do it, Hollywood, man. Just adapt the stuff. Add a bit more of a story and adapt the stuff. That's it. You know, adapt it in a way that makes sense and you know. It makes it believable. And
Mario still got to be the hero. I know they didn't want him saving Peach to end that like damsel in distress story, but he didn't get to save her, but he got to save something that she loved, which was the kingdom. Yeah, and he saved his brother, you know. Yeah, that was good. Some people had a criticism that Luigi. I agree kind of that criticism that we could have seen Luigi a bit more because Charlie Day was so good as Luigi as well. But you know, I was happy with it. Like we got to flesh out Mario as much as we could.
and probably get to see more Luigi in the sequels, which is there's clearly going to be sequels now because this film looks like it's doing really well. So yeah, let's wrap it up and give our overall
Final thoughts.
Yeah, and our final rating.
Great film.
Yeah.
More aimed towards if you're a fan of the games. It's
And
definitely
children.
a fan film.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely for if you're a fan, and it might bring in more fans if they like some of the elements in there.
It took me
Ignite
back
the
to being
nostalgia,
a kid.
Yeah.
Playing the game on my old little Nintendo with my square
Your square NES controller
and my little cartridge that you put in.
Yeah.
And I think we've still got that Nintendo in the loft somewhere.
My final thoughts are pretty much the same, just echoing hers, like nostalgia. I loved all the references to the games, the Easter eggs, even the little bit of plot that's in there that's nice and simple. Could have fleshed it out a bit more, but it still works. You know, I'd love to watch it again. The animations and the graphics are so good.
It again.
I know, right? The fact that you want to watch it again is a good sign. And yeah, just overall, I think my rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It would have been a 9 out of 10 if they had the music and the Fireflower. And it would have been a 10 out of 10 if the plot was a bit more fleshed out. Maybe if it was like a 1 hour and 40-something, 50-minute film. A bit of a more fleshed out plot and the Fireflower and the music. 10 out of 10. But 9 out of 10 if it had the Fireflower and the music, but I have to give it 8 out of 10 because they got all the other stuff right. So that's an 8 out of 10 rating for me.
Mine
What
would
about you?
be a 7.
7 out of 10.
But I never give films 10 out of 10.
Yeah, we established that
I'm
now.
quite strict with my ratings. Even like my favourite film, I wouldn't give it a 10.
Yeah, even her most favourite films in the world got 9 out of 10 probably.
Exactly. So I give it a 7. I don't know if they could replicate the same
thing.
feelings with
They'd
the
have to have
second
a
film.
really good plot if they're going to do another one. We've seen it come to life now. Now, if you're going to expand on this world, you're going to have to make a really good plot now, I think.
And you're going to have to make us fall in love with the characters.
Yeah, fall in love with the characters.
Because we love the world, we love all the little like throwbacks to the game, but can you do that a second time?
Yeah,
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
Because we've seen it.
We've seen it already, so you need to expand.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they're thinking about doing like a Nintendo universe now, where they're going to do other Nintendo games and turn them into maybe live action, maybe CGI animation. I don't know. And they're talking about Zelda, Metroid Prime, Star Fox. I'd love to see a Star Fox movie. I'd love to see a Zelda movie. That would be sick. I don't know how they would do that, if it's CGI or live action even. Live action could work.
Dun, 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 dun,
Exactly.
dun,
Clock
dun,
Town.
dun,
Was that Clock
dun,
Town?
dun, dun, dun,
Or
dun,
Castle
dun,
Town.
dun.
But yeah, that's our review of...
I'd love to see a Crash Bandicoot movie.
Oh, Crash Bandicoot movie.
But that's only because that's my favourite game and I played that so much as a kid and my sister played it so much as a kid and I just would love to see how they'd tackle that.
That would be interesting. I wonder if he'd have a voice on it.
Because it's like a Bandicoot that
well, it
wears
probably
shorts
coming.
and
I don't know even
trainers.
who owns Crash Bandicoot right now, because I don't think Naughty Dog have him anymore, do they?
I'd just love to see it.
Yeah, I was wondering who would make it, that's what I was thinking.
And if they could make it the same way they made this, like, oh my god.
CGI.
Yeah, like, I think it could almost make me cry.
If they do it good, it could even be better, who knows. But yeah, anyway, that's our review. That's our thoughts on the Super Mario Bros. Movie. If you liked it, please give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for notifications, and yes, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Just our opinion, sorry if you didn't like the movie.